Precision Racing League's American PS4 F1 Championship Series Season number 11, full-time drivers roster, and manufacturer assignments. Alfa Romeo Sauber, two-time defending champion Mick Sendit and Aaron Webb. Mercedes-AMG Petronas Motorsports, Marquesas, and D-News. Renault Sports Formula One team, Aerostrike, and Dano. Scuderia Ferrari, Nick Dahi, and Aletti. Aston Martin Red Bull Racing, J-Rod, and Gordau. McLaren F1 team, K-Dog, and Oxful. Haas F1 team, Chappa and Prowler. Red Bull Toro Rosso Honda, Brian Mosser and Bubba. Racing Point Force India F1 team, Ranga and AB. Williams Martini Racing, Axton and Soldier 6. And that is your full-time drivers roster for season number 11 of the PRL's American PS4 F1 Championship Series. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The Precision Racing League proudly presents your American PS4 F1 Championship Series. I'm your host for this evening, Hootius. Out there in Twitchland, you know me as Old Man Hoot. And tonight, the inaugural French Grand Prix. That's right, brand new to F1 2018, the Circuit Paul Ricard. We ran it in preseason, but that was preseason. Tonight, we are paying points. It is for real. We have a stacked 20-man grid. Every car is taken. Everybody's excited for it. Everybody looking to take down the champ. McSendit's won 4 races in a row. Not only do they want to be able to call themselves the first French Grand Prix winner, they want to put the champ down a peg. They want to knock him down, get him off, get themselves up the standings as well, and, get all the glitz and glam. Now, while we still have plenty of qualifying time left, what we're going to do is take a moment. Let's go ahead and take a step back to last week, the Canadian Grand Prix. It was an absolutely wild one. So let's go ahead and spend a good 6-7 minutes. Let's watch some of the highlights from that race. McSendit did another lap, and there he goes. He was able to hook that one up. He jumps now. He actually gained 0.6 of a second on his best time. He beats Marquesas by 0.4. Gordau! That was the Red Bull that we saw trying to steal a little bit of slipstream. Gordau jumps up to P3. That's a season best for Gordau. Looking at McSendit, who grabbed the pole on the last lap, and there we go, they're off. McSendit appears to get a okay launch, but Marquez is right there. McSendit's going to have him cleared. Gordau's going to cover third, and then we got wheel-to-wheel 3 rows back. We've got Dahi trying to race with Dano. We've got Axton and Aaron Webb wheel-to-wheel as well. Dahi's going to take the spot. Aaron Webb still fighting with Axton. They're still wheel-to-wheel. We see Zeke behind them in the well, filling in the Ferrari. Axton still does not have Aaron Webb cleared as they go through the S. Now Axton clears him. A whole lot of room there. We've only had a couple guys change positions. We've seen a lot of battles going on this first lap, but really just Oxful and Prowler and then Soldier and Bubba have swapped as they go to the final chicane. Got a battle between a Haas and a McLaren. Oh, and then the Williams gets in the back. That was Soldier 6. Got into the back of Haas, so Soldier spins. I did not see any real debris go flying, so unfortunate for Soldier there, but Hopefully the wing's still intact and he'll be able to get going. So because a lot of these guys have DRS with the car in front of them. So it's just everybody absolutely flying. Though J-Rod's going to take a look into the final chicane. He's going to have Monster cleared. Monster not really defending too terrible, but he did run wide into the grass. That's going to give Zeke a run, and Zeke's going to take the 10th spot. So smart move by Zeke. Brian, one little slip up cost him 2 spots there, but he's still right there. No damage. Dahi all over the back of Gordow, and he's going to make a run. Now, Gordow started on those Hypersofts, Dahi on the Ultras. So while the Hypersofts are the fastest tire, they also don't last that long. There we go, side by side. Gordow backs it off. Dahi had the position and give P3 to the Ferrari. It's the problem with going on the Hypers early and doing that short pit. You find yourself coming into traffic. There we go. Wait, 3 wide going into the hairpin. Amazing move by Dano going to the inside. Gordow's going to make the high side work. Can he accelerate off? Yes, he's going to clear K-Dog. But incredible move by Dano. 3 wide going into the hairpin. The 2 gentlemen on faster tires split K-Dog. Axton also gets around as well on his tires. Prowler did start on the Super Softs, so that works out great for him. They'll be able to be on the faster tire later in this race when the car has less fuel as well. And here we go. Aaron Webb trying to take a peek on Gordow, going into the S. A little bit of tire contact, no! And Arrow got a piece of it as well. Going into the back straight. Dano with a nice launch though. But here we go, the slipstream's about to kick in. DRS opens up. Look how quickly the Red Bull is catching the Renault. Is he gonna make a move? He's thinking about it. Here comes the late break. There's a little bit of wheel-on-wheel contact. That's set Dano wide. J-Rod's gonna get the position. J-Rod feels like it was hard racing, does not give the position back, so now this puts Dano on the attack. As Marquez just went purple as well, running the fastest lap of the race. Oh, so they went toe-to-toe in turn 1. Marquez goes really, really wide though in the grass through turn 2, and that's going to give him extended the spot back. So Marquez has just outbraked himself going into turn 1 there. A little bit of a desperation move out of the Mercedes driver because he knows he needs to get around McSendit and then he needs to run away from him. Excuse me, McSendit starting to run a defensive line down the front stretch. No move there to make for... Oh my God! Marquez is with connection issues of some sort, just fell through the track. That's absolutely terrible. Codemasters, what are you doing? We had a great battle for the lead going on, and it looks like out of pure sportsmanship, and hats off to the champ, McSendit has slowed down. So McSendit has given the time back to Marquez, but we just saw a jump there. So this might be an issue with Marquez's connection. We'll have to see what happens. But McSendit, knowing what happened, backed it off, and we've got a battle for the lead again. So again, the champion showing just tremendous class there. Hats off to him. Car battle. Ferrari taking the defensive line going into the final chicane. Gordow with a strong run though. Here we go, down the front stretch. Gordow's going to swing out wide, trying to make a move on Axton going into turn 1. Axton's going to swing, and Axton with a very aggressive move there was able to clear Gordow. Makes the move on Zeke. Zeke had the inside line on turn 2. Tire spin though. They're still side by side going into the first S. Who is going to lift? Nobody, but somehow there we go. Now the craziness happens. Zeke bounced off the wall. He did get a piece of Axton. Gordow is absolutely frantic right now in the Red Bull, not knowing where to go to dodge these guys if they were going to wreck. Now Gordow to the inside of Zeke going into the second S. Gordow with a hard break and was able to make it stick, so hats off to the Red Bull driver. So he gets around Zeke. Now he's going to bring the battle back to Axton. No move to be made at the hairpin, but we've seen the Red Bull is really strong on this backstretch with the DRS. He's got a lot of ERS to work with as well. There goes DRS. Here's the slipstream. 210 miles an hour as he swings out wide. And he's going to fully complete the pass going into this chicane. So give J-Rod P4. Gives the Wall of Champions a little bit of love there, though, and that's going to allow Aerostrike to make a move back. J-Rod, though, technically was behind on DRS. There we go. insanely close, but didn't appear to be any contact. Arrow tried for a late break, wasn't quite there. J-Rod's going to hold the position. Here we go, Axton. All over the back of Prowler now, through the hairpin. You see the Red Bull of Gordow right there as well, though. He's a little bit too far back to get DRS. Prowler immediately just protects that right side. No, he's going to swing out wide. Axton with a huge run with the DRS. He's going to have him completely cleared going into the braking zone of the final chicane. So give Axton P6 back to his original qualifying position. Let's take a moment. We're going back. Axton under attack from Prowler this time. Prowler trying to get as much slipstream as possible to go with that DRS. He's going to swing out wide to the outside. And Prowler gives himself a 3-second penalty, but Axton put himself in the wall of champions. There was also an illegal overtake for Prowler. He had to get the spot back, and that allows Gordow to do a double overtake on the front stretch. And Gordow's going to hold the position going into turn 2. Prowler trying to make it. No, too much curbing. We saw Prowler really go in hard, clip some grass. I think he even caught the rear tire of Axton as well, and Prowler just lost a handful of positions with that desperation move, unfortunately. The Haas was looking good for points, and desperation got the best of him. Point. And speaking of battles, so Aaron Webb brings the fight to Zeke. Oh, no, Dano! Right there as well. Dano puts it in the wall, but it looked pretty flush with the tires. Zeke trying to fight back to the outside of Aaron Webb. That's going to open up the door for Dano on the inside. Zeke slides the tires on exit, trying to accelerate. Zeke tucks in behind Dano. Dano's trying to use the slipstream and DRS to get back up to Aaron Webb. Aaron Webb looking really good in the Sauber right now to hold position going into the final chicane, and he does. Aaron Webb and Dano are still going to battle, though, and here we go. Marquez is with a hard outside braking attempt, which turns into an over-under move. Though he had some wheel spin, the Mercedes... And there we go. McSenna was able to clear him. Now McSenna's going to hold the right-hand side. Marquez is with DRS and slipstream as they race down to the final chicane. One more time. Does Marquez have him clear? No, McSenna's going to fight back. And McSenna's going to do it. He's going to defend in the final chicane as they race to the finish line. And there it goes. That is 4 in a row for McSenna. Marquez has actually had an extra penalty and went ahead and destroyed his Mercedes just for good measure. Dahi in a whirl of his own right now, though. He was 26 seconds back, but has a ton of time on Arrow. We're going to follow Dahi through the final chicane one more time, give some podium love, and then we're going to jump back to Axton. As Eric... Come on, Dahi! And there we go. The Ferrari is on the podium once again. Now here's the battle for 6. Gordow and Axton. We also had Dano and Aaron fighting right behind them as well. Going into the final hairpin. No move yet for Axton. He's going to size up the Red Bull on the back straight. Here we go. Hopping on board. There's the slipstream. DRS is open. A lot of ERS. He's going to make a strong move on Gordow. Can Gordow defend it all? He's going to go for a late break. Gordow slid it. And great move by Axton. He's going to take 6th spot from Gordow. And hats off to Aero Strike. Finish 4th. J-Rod 5th. There. And there you had it, an absolutely wild one last week in Montreal. And speaking of wild, normally I try to eat up as much qualifying time as possible because these guys are out there hot lapping, not much to see. I would love to give as much props to any drivers as I can, so we make the highlight videos and all that. To be honest, I'm a little disappointed in myself because I shouldn't have ate up as much time with these videos because this qualifying has been insanely interesting, to be honest. We've had 4 different guys right now sit on the top spot. We're reaching under 2 minutes to go. Now it's crunch time. Dano, in just his 3rd race as a full-time driver in the Renault, sitting on top right now, not by much, a little over a 10th on Nick Dahi, who did his lap, though, on super softs. An amazing great lap for the Ferrari driver. Marquez, who is used to sitting up front, currently sitting P3. He is out there. He is doing one last flyer lap. Now, you notice now, it takes about a minute and a half to do these laps. We see a couple guys trying to sneak out of the pits. They're not going to be able to get their lap in. They've misjudged they're not going to be able to get around and start off. So we're going to start seeing guys retiring here soon. Marquez is doing one last desperation lap here to try to get back up front. You see, he's been on curbing already. It's not exactly, he's going wide. He's not having the cleanest of laps here. J-Rod having another strong run. He's had some great qualifying efforts in his Red Bull this season. He's up to 4th right now. Looked at gain a couple tenths, see if he can knock Marquez off a 3rd. If not, make a bigger jump up into the front row. Aero Strike, the other Renault driver, sitting P5 right now. Same thing, he's having a quality effort. He's just a couple hundred, not even, 15 one-thousandths of a second behind J-Rod. So Aero Strike trying to just find any little bit of speed he can to gain one more spot. Now here is a shocker. McSendit is down to P6 right now. McSendit's been on the tear the last month. Well, really the whole season. He started off with 3 straight 3rd place finishes and then cranked off 4 wins in a row. He's back in the points lead with a substantial lead at that. And there he goes. McSendit jumps up to P1 with a flurry, 0.6 of a second on Dano. I thought he may have had something in the tank there because McSendit didn't win the preseason race here. So he definitely had some speed, and here comes Marquez. I was questioning his lap because he was running wide on curbing, but that looked to be a great strategy for his Mercedes as he was able to keep speed going. He clipped McSendit by just under 0.2 of a second. Dano is done. Dahi is done. J-Rod is still out there. J-Rod going through the second DRS zone. Aerostrike retired. He could do no better than 6. Here's the other Red Bull of Gordau, who's having a quality effort right now in 7th. Then we've got Aletti, the new Ferrari driver, the winner of the first 2 races, Mebe. Unfortunately, due to attendance, he is done. Mebe lost his full-time seat, and we've got another jump in there, and this time it's going to be Aaron Webb, the other Sauber. He jumps up to 5th and knocks J-Rod down. And there we go. Aerostrike is done right now. He could do no better than 8th. Here is another absolute shocker. Zeke, one of our NASCAR Heat guys, comes in as reserve for F1. This is a personal best F1 effort for him. Zeke, filling in from the Mercedes spot, jumps up to 6th. Gordau now jumps up to 5th. That was a quality lap. We're all watching J-Rod now as he comes down the front stretch. Can he go back up? He gets one spot, though. He knocks Aaron Webb down to 8th. Aaron, though, qualifying on the Super Softs. Aletti is done. We've got Axton right now. Axton is done. So this may actually work out in Axton's favor as everybody else now is done for qualifying. Axton finished in 2nd place in the preseason race. So he does not have an official podium to his name, but he is very familiar with this track. Axton, the first car outside of the top 10, can start on a fresh set of tires of his choosing. The only issue would be first lap shenanigans. Does he mess up the front wing at all? So that's going to be the risk that Axton is going to take if he wants to try to snag that first career podium. Now, as for poles though, Marquez, this is going to be 3 on the season for him. That's going to tie him for McSendit with the lead. Dano, again, 3rd. Dahi, Gordau, your top 5. Zeke, J-Rod, Aaron, Arrow, and Aletti round out your top 10. The fresh tires begin with Axton, Brian, Prowler, Chappa, and Oxford are 11th through 15th, and then K-Dog, Bubba, Soldier 6, AB, and here is someone we're going to keep an eye on, Diego. He has shined in every single race that he has jumped in as a reserve for. He will be starting dead last. He is going to have a lot of speed in that Force India, that is for sure, so he is going to be one to keep an eye out. Now, while the guys are now doing some pre-race adjustments, getting everything ready for their race trim, there is no weather in the forecast, so it's all about tire conservation and speed, how they can do it. While they're getting that all ready, let's take a few moments now. And for anybody to the stream who is not familiar with the Circuit Paul Ricard, let's go ahead and give you a little bit closer of a track tour here and get you ready for tonight's race. In Le Castellet, France, is where you'll find the Circuit Paul Ricard. This circuit lays out at 3.63 miles per lap with 15 turns and several very long straightaways with a pair of DRS zones that's going to set up some prime passing opportunities in tonight's race. As you're racing down the front stretch to start your lap, you're going to see you have the pit road off to the right. Now here's something incredibly difficult and tricky about tonight's race is this pit road exit. Drivers trying to get a preferred line going here into turn 1 on this left-hander impedes into the pit road exit line, so they have to be very careful to not cause an accident. After turn 1, you saw there was a bit of a curve right to left. You're going to head down another bit of straightaway before you hit a right and a very elongated left. Just a bit of a short shoot, and then you're going to go back to the right. You've got a bit of a double apex right here. You're going to try to carry as much speed as possible. You're going to bank to the left. At this point, though, you're still straight out. Here comes one of our prime passing opportunities. It's a DRS zone and a really long straightaway. Matter of fact, this straightaway is about to get cut in half by an oversized chicane, if you will. Here we go. You're going to go left, right. Get back on the accelerator. Make sure you don't spin the wheels. You go back to the left. And now you're going to finish off the straightaway. You're going to prefer to hug the left side for the turn coming up. However, you see there's still some decent length on here, so getting some slipstream is going to be really key. You have a fast right-hander before you finally got a bit of a short shoot, and then you got to start rolling her down for a very long double apex right-hander. Accelerate out of that, you'll go into another short shoot. Now it's time to go to the left. A very late apex left-hander. You're going to veer off to the right, but you're flooring it, trying to get as much speed as possible. Holding that right side, though, because here comes the left that you're going to have to slow down for. Once again, a long apex on these turns. It's going to be very tricky for guys tonight trying to push their cars, but still saving tires. After you come off the final right-hander, you're going to pass the entrance to pit road, race down to the start-finish line, and that is a lap around the circuit, Paul Ricard. Alright, and there we go. The guys are there right now, performing the parade lap, getting everything all squared away, trying to get some timings down, warm up the tires, get the brakes. So while we still have another moment before they get gridded up, let's look at the points. First, let's look at the drivers. There we go. So McSendit, after his 4th win in a row, as you see it, a 42-point lead over Nick Dahi, almost 2 full races. Aero Strike. Pretty much our top 5 have all stayed the same. It's the bottom half of the top 10 that all jumped around. You see Marquez back in the top 10 after that runners-up finish last week. Axton had another solid run. He jumps up into 6th place. Mystic in 7th. No longer, unfortunately, scheduling interference. He is no longer on this season. We'll continue to see him fall out and a new name pop in. As for the manufacturer, Sauber, still not fully running away with it, but increasing the lead over Ferrari. Though Nick Dahi now, with missing Mebe the last couple weeks, he has a Letty, so they're looking to gain points. Renault is back in it too, with Dano having strong runs as well. You see Mercedes, same thing, jumped a couple spots after Odom's strong finish. Now we're on the grid. Everybody's getting ready. We're going to watch the action down into turn 1. We have a pretty decent length here to build up some speed. And the lights are out, and it is the start of the French Grand Prix. Marquez is not great off the line. McSendit with a huge jump. He's going to take the lead. Dano's going to challenge for 2nd already. McSendit has him fully cleared. He's got the position. Marquez is going to get in front of Dano, and now we go. We got Gordau and Dahi wheel-to-wheel for 4th place. Zeke is tucked in at 6th. He's under attack from J-Rod, though, the other Red Bull. You got Aaron Webb tucked in there behind as well. There we go. Dahi falls back to 5th. Zeke right on him, though. Zeke and J-Rod wheel-to-wheel. Aaron by himself. Then we've got Aerostrike with a nice outside overtake on Oxford there. So Oxford, though, with a great jump, up 5 positions early in this race. Everybody's starting to fan out a little bit, getting single file. Oh, and as soon as I said that, here they go. They start J-Rod under attack, trying to defend from both Zeke and Aaron, and J-Rod's going to jump up to 6th place. Aaron's going to take the spot over the Zeke. Zeke's trying to challenge back. It's not quite there yet. He's under attack now from Aerostrike. Oxfield's there right as well. And what we missed watching all this, too, is Marquez has gotten back around McSendit. So we had a change for the lead watching this mid-pack battle go on. Zeke runs a little bit wide as Aerostrike and Oxford are right away. Oh, we've got 3 wide! Zeke runs wide, make sure he gives plenty of room. Aerostrike's going to take the position. Zeke's going to fight back on the inside. Oxford kind of just a viewer right now. There's some wheel-on-wheel contact. I didn't see any debris, though. There's more wheel-on-wheel contact. Can Zeke grab the position? No, he can't. Here comes Aerostrike again, and we have our first retiree. Oh, no, it's going to be a double retiree for K-Dog and Diego. Unfortunately, everybody has passed them. We don't know where they're at on the track, but it seems to be an unfortunate incident that has just taken out 2 drivers. So we'll have to figure out later what exactly happened there. But up front, we got Dahi all over the back of Gordau now. Those drivers swap positions early in this race. DRS is not open yet. but Gordau is the first driver who is not within DRS. The top three are all within each other, though Dano is now starting to fall away a little bit. He needs to get that Renault up there to hang with the top two guys. Here we go, even without DRS, Dahi with some slipstream, makes a move to the inside of Gordau. And he backed off. Going into that chicane is very, very tricky to try to pass that, so Dahi plays it safe. Didn't want to risk any early damage. He backs off. Gordau's going to defend the position. You see the other Red Bull, J-Rod, right behind the Ferrari. Let's go back a little bit to where the action has been plentiful. Again, Oxwell with a great start, +6 early. Doing fantastic. Zeke, their early loser, though. We saw he was in a 3-wide battle, went wide on the track, some wheel banging, but overall, look at the front wing. It's clean on the Mercedes. He's collected himself. He's sitting in 10th place right now. Behind him, Brian Mosser has gained a spot, though he's going to be back under attack from Oxford. Axton. So Axton, remember, he started 11th. These are fresh super softs. So this is going to work out in his favor to be on a faster tire later in this race. And there we go. Lap number 3, DRS is enabled. So now we're going to start seeing some real action kick up as well. As a matter of fact, so the top two guys have ran away from Dano, and because of that, Dano has actually fallen back to the grasp of Gordau and Dahi. Extended a half second back as we're about to enter the first DRS zone. Dahi taking a look on Gordau there. DRS is open. You see Marquez has already taken a defensive line. The half second is down to a couple tenths now. The chicane's going to cut this straightaway in half. No move to be made yet. Dano's still protecting, but you see Dahi and Gordau still gaining ground. J-Rod, a couple seconds behind these guys. He's got to cushion back to Aaron. Aaron has a mirror of yellow and orange behind him as Aerostrike and Oxwell look to continue the battles. And Gordau with an early 3-second penalty. So that is not good for the Red Bull driver. And not only that, here he goes wheel to wheel with Dahi. Dahi qualified on the Super Softs, so he needs to get around these guys to really maximize his tire strategy, being on that harder compound. Dano's loving this right now too. The more that these guys are going to battle for position, that's just going to allow Dano to pull away and get him out of DRS. McSendit running the fastest lap right now. Not a shocker, as he really benefited from the DRS that time around. And Gordau is in. This is just a tire change, no wing change. You see Gordau off the Ultra Softs very early onto the, well, now it's showing Supers. 1 second. There we go. Yeah, he is on Super Softs. I thought he jumped on the Softs there. They had yellow tires out, but he goes to Supers. So this is definitely a two-stop strategy for Gordau. Back up front, we had a pass for the lead as AB got caught speeding. Now here comes Marquez fighting back. He had DRS, he used it on McSendit. Does he have him cleared going into the chicane? Yes, he does. So both drivers have traded that top spot back and forth here early in the first half of this lap. Dahi used DRS to get around Dano. They're about 4 seconds almost behind the battle for the lead. With Gordau's, oh, and here we go. Here we got another battle as Oxford trying to make a move on Aerostrike. Not quite there. He has to tuck back in. No DRS on that second part of the straightaway after the chicane. And we've got a spin, and it's J-Rod. The Red Bull way off track. Not really sure what happened there, but to lose it that far off, I can't even begin to guess if there may have been contact or what happened, but huge off for J-Rod. Cost him a bunch of spots, unfortunately, and not the start Red Bull was hoping to have in this race. Gordau with an early pit, and now J-Rod with a huge off. Both cars do have speed, though, so they need to be patient and gain those spots back up. Speaking of gaining spots, we mentioned him earlier in this race. Axton now up to 8th. He's +3. 2 seconds behind Arrow and Oxford. The more those two battle, the more he can close in. Same thing, Aaron Webb wants those guys to duke it out more so he can pull away. The McLaren and the Renault have been pretty much hooked up this entire race so far. Oh, we've got another sector 1 yellow. Can't quite see who it is, though. So hopefully it was just a quick off and then all is well. we've got another change for the lead. These guys are just using the DRS zones back and forth on one another. Really, the reason I'm not catching this too is this is not common for Marquez and McSendit. Normally, these guys are very patient. They know they have pretty good pace almost on the rest of the field. And here we go. Marquez is looking on the inside. McSendit hasn't cleared. Though it's a late apex, Marquez again just can't get it to stick. But these guys are normally good about being patient, kind of following one another, just, run away from the rest of the field. Not tonight. This has been a lot of lead changes going on back and forth early between these two. But even then, with the battling going on back and forth, they still have a healthy gap. It's almost 5 seconds back to Dahi. Dahi's been able to run away from Dano. Dano now... Oh, we missed, unfortunately, going up to the front. We missed a great overtake as Oxful has moved up into 5th place. He has been able to get by Aaron Webb and Aerostrike that lap. So Oxful now a plus 10. He qualified 15th, and he is up to 5th right now on fresh super sauce that he began this race on. Absolutely fantastic drive for the McLaren. Aaron Webb falling behind a little bit right now, though. He is actually out of DRS of Oxful. He's got Aerostrike right on him, though. And then behind him, they start spreading out as we've got more pit stops happening. So Gordau has pit. Zeke just pit. J-Rod has pit. You see the soft tires on the other Red Bull. Oh, J-Rod almost lost it on some curbing. Big time catch there. Back up front. So McSendit has actually been able to hold. He's held the lead now for a lap. As the McSendit Marquez have just been trading back and forth all race, but McSendit getting a little bit of a buffer, trying to neutralize the DRS advantage that the Mercedes is having. And we also saw, too, with a couple of the overtakes Marquez was trying to take, he was taking more of an aggressive line. I'm wondering if we're starting to see maybe some tire heating issues or maybe tire wear issues because McSendit is now running away. Look at that. Just in that sector, he pulled over a second. He is knocked. Oh, there we go. We see some wheel spin. So Marquez is starting to lose grip, and this is working out great for McSendit. He has him out of DRS. Speaking of DRS, we've got to go back to where the action's been all night, and here we go. Axton with a great run off the final turn. Not quite there. He tucks back in, try to get some slip. The chance is not there. He'll stay tucked in behind Arrow. As Aaron Webb, who is right in front of this battle, just got himself a 3-second penalty. And here we go. Axton making a loop. Nope, he tucked it back in. And as the penalties continue now, this is the second penalty for speeding on pit road that I've seen. This time it's going to go to the other Ferrari of Aletti. Aletti in his first race in the Ferrari as a full-time driver, replacing Mebe. Not the start he wanted after a solid qualifying effort. Though based on all the arrows, you could tell who are the guys who have pitted first in this race. Gordau, Zeke, J-Rod, Aletti, big-time losers, but again, they've already made a pit stop. All the guys in front of them yet to pit. And the man is still charging, so Aaron Webb is catching up to the back of Oxful, but Oxful is catching the back of Dano. So here we go, and not too far behind is Aerostrike and Axton. So we've got, there you see them, all 5 cars on the screen at the same time, and a potential battle for 4th right now. And speaking of battles, there we go. We saw it in the background, Axton with a nice overtake move. Arrow finally decided to back off a little bit, not fight it, trying to save some tire right now. So give Axton P7. He's up 4 right now. And here we go. It's going to be Dano. He's going to be the first one to pit. He gave up 4th place. He thinks those Ultras have had a good run. He's coming in for softs. So Dano trying to make it a one-stop race. Taking the softs 19 laps. That is doable. That now puts Oxful up plus 11 on the race. Again, just hats off to him. He's gained a couple positions due to some pit cycles, but Oxful has raced himself up there. Like, it's been a great drive for him. Up front, McSendit continuing to pull away. Now it's 3 seconds back to Marquez. Remember, these guys had traded the lead probably a good 10 times the first 5 laps. They were back and forth, and wondering if all of that battling, Marquez just used his stuff up. It's allowing McSendit to pull gap. Dahi now starting to... That was about 6 seconds Dahi was behind those guys. So while Dahi is losing time to McSendit still, he is gaining time on Marquez. And then he's got a nice breather back to Oxful. 7.5 seconds off the podium spot right now. Oxful keeping Aaron Webb at a DRS as Aaron Webb now has a mirror full of Williams. This is Axton. We talked about him. Finished second in the preseason race. Gonna make a move. That was really tight. If there was any contact, it looked to be maybe wheel on wheel, but there we go. Axton with a great run on the outside. Aaron Webb kept clipping some curbing on the inside, was not able to accelerate off as Marquez has brought it in the pits. Arrow strike as well. So with that move now, Axton finds himself up to 4th place. Now before the pit stop, Marquez was 3 seconds behind McSendit as he puts on a fresh set of soft tires trying to make it a one-stop race. We'll see if this undercut is going to work at all and if Marquez is able to close that gap back up. Keep an eye on McSendit too. Will he come this time around? Will he try to minimize the gain that Marquez would get for doing the undercut? Let's go ahead and jump back to the grid real quick. So back to 10th place. We've got a 3-car DRS battle going on. It's Prowler who has yet to pit, and he has got a fast Dano and a fast Gordau on fresh tires behind him as they go into the DRS. Prowler running the middle straight, then goes into the racing line. Here we go. Dano's making a move in, and he's going to complete the overtake on the Haas. So move Dano up to 9th, Prowler down to 10th. Gordau was unable to capitalize. He was trying to see if maybe he could poke his nose in there and overtake the Haas and not lose ground over the no, but that's not going to happen. Prowler actually with a pretty decent run, though, trying to bring the fight back to Dano, just couldn't, but got in the curbing that slowed him down, and that's going to allow Gordau with the easy overtake. Move Gordau back into the points now. Remember, Gordau and Dano have speed on them. They qualified 3rd and 5th, so they just had early pit stops that knocked them down through the field, but they are racing their way back up. Next on the list is Toro Rosso or Brian Mosser. They're both within DRS of him. Aaron Webb, he's bringing his Sauber into pit. Axton now closing in on the back of Oxful. These two drivers, remember, they qualified outside the top 10. Axton qualified 11th, Oxful qualified 15th. They started on fresh super softs. So they're not worried yet about pitting. Though I would assume at this point they'll probably maybe go 1-2 more laps, come in for softs, and then that way they don't have to really worry about conserving their softs. They can run them pretty hard. All right, with that pit stop, Dano and Gordau now up to 7th and 8th. Aaron Webb falls down to 11th. It's going to be his turn to try to drive up through some traffic. They've got a bit of a break for the next car, though. So Gordau trying to bring that Red Bull into battle with the Renault and up for the battle of 3rd place, the same spot where we saw Axton make a pass a couple laps ago. He's going to put the move on Oxful this time. So give Axton P3. He is +8. Oxful is +11. These two drivers having amazing runs. Hats off to Chapo as well. He qualified 14th. He's been on these supers. He has not pitted yet. He is +8, though. He's had a good start to this race. No wing damage. Just trying to work that later pit strategy. And here we go. McSendit has pit. He's on the softs. Where is Marquez? Here he goes. And Marquez is just at the fastest lap of the race. McSendit, though, even though Marquez went purple, McSendit holds the lead. Marquez was only able to eat out 2 seconds of it, and McSendit has 2 lap pressure tires. That just means McSendit's going to be able to run these softs a little bit harder, though he is going to need to take a lap to get these softs up to temp, whereas Marquez, his tires are good to go and they're nice and racy. So if Marquez can make a move on McSendit and make that overtake, which technically would be the pass for the lead, that could be huge. And then Marquez just worry about defending. See DRS open, he's catching up, he makes a late swing out. McSendit's giving him room. And Marquez with a strong run on the outside is going to complete the overtake. So, very powerful move there through that chicane to make it work. And give Marquez's P4. The 3 drivers in front of them, though, still have to pit. Mixendo is right on the attack back, though. Mixendo almost has his tires up to temp. In the meantime, while this is happening, Dahi leading laps in this race. He is the 3rd different leader. We're going to hop on board with the Sauber now. Looks like Mixendit's a little comfy. Though he had some wheel spin right there, so the tire's still not 100%, but they're racy. As Dahi and Axton have pit, that's going to give the lead to Oxford. He will be the 4th different leader in this race. And if my memory recalls me right, that's going to be the first time the McLaren has led this season. So, great job for Oxford. He's going to pit, he's going to lose some spots, but to go plus 14, to be as racy as he was early in this race, not get any damage, and get himself up to the lead, even if temporarily, that's hats off. That is a wonderful drive that young man is having right now. In DRS, we're on top of the Sauber. Can he repay the Mercedes? You see he's closing in. Will he go for the same kind of late move that Marquez has went for? He's looking at it. Marquez is giving him room, though. Is the over-under there? No, it's not. Both drivers spinning their wheels a little bit on exit. So Marquez is going to hold the position for now. We also have Gordau and Dano, who have caught the back of Chapa. That's going to be the battle for 5th. So Chapa still needs to pit, though. He qualified 14th. He's on his original tires. Gordau and Dano have already pitted. They're trying to race their way back up to gain that track position. This is such a technical track. You're seeing guys really don't have a advantage per se in sectors. It's just a matter of how clean they can be. And there we go. Oxford brings in his McLaren. He'll give up the lead. Marquez is going to take it back. On the front stretch, DRS is open. Marquez has already taken that inside line defensive maneuver. Mixenda on the outside. Strong run by the Sauber. He's going to take the lead back. Marquez is with a 3-second. Oh, as he did in a nice over-under, but that cost him. Marquez was too aggressive on the curbing to try to make the pass back, and he has a 3-second penalty. Mixendit taking a peek. He's got to protect that nose, though. That was awfully close. No damage. As everything is starting to cycle around now, though. Let's go ahead and real quick, we're going to look at our leaderboard. As for pit stops, that's it. Soldier 6 down in 11th is the last one. So our top 10, all our points positions have pitted. Now we know there are some guys out there, though, on 2-tire strategies. Let's look at it. Gordau, you see he's up in 4th place, though. 9 laps on the Super Softs. He is going to need another pair. Everybody else, though, on those softs, trying to make it the rest of the way. Dano, 5 laps already on his softs. It's going to be questionable. He might be able to do it, though. He's definitely going to have to conserve some tire. Oxford sitting the prettiest, down in 8th. He just came out of the pits. He has very fresh softs. He can easily take those 14 laps, though, so he does not have to worry about conserving as much tire as the others. Oh, wow. Just a little more salt in J-Rod's wound there. So we saw J-Rod had a absolutely huge off. It seems like he may have just had another one as he got a rare 10-second penalty. And here we go, battle for the lead. So Mixendit was able to get upside to the side of Marquez. Not able to make the move stick, though. Okay, so he's able to defend. Mixendit, though, still on his heels. Whoa! Marquez is big time. He had big time wheel spin there. Went wide. Mixendit's going to have DRS. He's got slipstream. He's a little bit too far back, though. There's going to be no move to be had in the chicane. So even though Marquez went wide, he was able to keep the power down, had the tire stick, and holds the spot for now. We'll try to catch these guys as they get on the front stretch, but here we go. We've got a battle for 4th. So one Renault got by the Red Bull. That'd be Dano. He was able to get by Gordau. You see Aerostrike right behind him. That's a 3-car battle for 4th place. That Red Bull, though, on a 2-stop strategy, he is going to have to come into pit, and that's going to cost him a lot of track time. And we look back. Here is Oxville and Axton again. Those two were battling for 3rd place before the pit stops. They're right now 7th and 8th. Not terribly far back, though, from the Renaults. So as long as they don't get overly racing with one another, they could try to chase down the Bumblebee cars, and they will get position over Gordau. And I was a little late getting back to it on the front stretch as McSennett and Marquesas are wheel-to-wheel. Marquesas did not have the over-under move like he did last time, but also doing it last time cost him 3 seconds, so he probably thought a little bit better of it. So give the top spot to the Sauber, though the Mercedes. He looks awfully strong on these straightaways. We'll see if there's a move to be made here like he did last time going in the chicane. Extend it with a nice run off, though. Has a pretty decent gap. There's DRS. Marquesas running that 4th ERS. There you go. Huge run. Goes to the inside into the chicane. McSendit trying to battle. Now he's going to have inside. Runs up on the curbing. And Marquesas has the power stick to the outside. Great overtake. Extend it now in the slipstream, trying to battle back. Move is not there yet. He's taking a look this time, still not there. These two drivers not letting each other relax a moment. Like I said, this kind of caught me off guard because normally these two, they're pretty patient with one another. They run away from the field. You normally don't see this towards the end of the race, but this has been, for the most part, a race-long battle. We had Marquesas at the beginning, probably around lap, what was that, 6 or 7, when his super softs started fading on him. McSendit was able to gap him. The undercart worked for Marquesas. He was able to close that gap, and ever since then, these two have been back and forth here on these soft compound tires as McSendit with DRS made... Whoa! Was that contact? We're hopping on top of the McLaren. No, his wing is there. Okay, they were awfully close. It looked like Marquesas' nose was underneath, but then there's contact again. Marquesas pushed out wide. There was a little bit of contact with McSendit. Now McSendit backs off. He looks for an over-under. Marquesas outbraked himself. That gives the top spot back to the Sauber. Here we go, though. McSendit bad on entry. This is going to give Marquesas a run. As they go into the DRS, the Mercedes has the DRS. He already swings out. He's going to have him fully cleared. You see McSendit trying to get into a slipstream now as they enter the chicane. Tight wheel-to-wheel battles going on. If I had to guess, that's probably about the 25th lead change that these two drivers have had tonight through 16 laps. Absolutely nuts. LSRP, what's going on, my man? Stectrum, thanks for hopping in as well. You guys are picking a great time to hop in the broadcast. This has been absolutely nuts between these two tonight. While all this is going on as well, so Gordau gave up 5th place. He made his 2nd pit stop, so he has a fresh set of, I would assume, would be super softs. Let's give a... Nope, Gordau didn't even flirt with it. He went ahead and went softs. So Gordau is good to go for the rest of the race, absolutely. But he has got to make some passes if he wants to make up that track time. And Stectrum, thank you so much for the follow as well. Very much appreciated. And here we go. McSendit with a run, but it wasn't there in turn 1. He was able to close the gap with DRS, but he did not have the overtake opportunity. We're going to hop on top of the Sauber. As we go through the rest of Sector 1, McSendit tries to set him up for the 2nd DRS zone. Marquesas goes a little bit wide, but that does not seem to have affected him. Oh, no, we just had another. All right, we're hopping on top of Soldier 6. Where is Prowler? Where is the Haas? There is our 3rd DNF of the night. He was somewhere, he was way off track. I didn't even see him as Soldier 6 passed him, so unfortunate for Prowler. That's going to be it. And we've got J-Rod and Zeke making pit stops as well. Go back up front. McSendit right back on the tail of Marquesas again. McSendit going for an early break. Speed off. It wasn't there to get underneath Marquesas for the double apex right-hander. Hey, Lamp. Actually, yes. It's on all both consoles, PS4 and Xbox, and on PC. The PRL also has a PC league as well. So anybody interested in what's going on, this is the Precision Racing League. There's the link to, as Hoopbot spammed it twice, but this organization, we run many different games, or excuse me, sims, on all consoles. So F1 is one of our more popular races. We have an American PS4 league, an American PC league, an Australian PS4 league. We have 3 European PS4 leagues as well. So the game is very popular, and as you see, just some great talent that we have in the league as well. And I've been keeping an eye on the leaderboard as well, and there's been a lot of position changes going on. A lot of good battles, but anytime you're having guys change the lead 20 plus times, it's hard to keep the camera off the top spot. As Preller has left the session, again, unfortunate for the Haas, he's the 3rd DNF. Diego and K-Dog were DNFs on lap 1. We can only assume that it was maybe a wreck together, because unfortunately, once a car is disabled, I cannot bring the camera on them, and they were already in 19th to 20th place, so we had no idea where they wrecked out. Prowler was somewhere in Sector 2, but well off track, so no safety car involved. We saw Marquez there protect the inside line, fending off McSendit. As we are now 2/3 of the way through this race. Lamp, I like the confidence, my man. But oh, there we go. Marquez had some wheel spin. McSendit was able to close the gap but not capitalize. But I was saying, I like the confidence, but we have got some talent in that league as well. And I will say this, the PC league is a no assist league. So be prepared if you want to sign up for it, my man. They're going to test you. Here we go on the front stretch. DRS is open. Marquez decides not to protect the inside line. He's going to try to do an outside run here. As McSendit is going to fully have him cleared. Marquez, actually, it looked like he tried to do an over-under, but the move wasn't there on the curbing. So the Sauber takes the top spot. The Mercedes is chasing. And anybody curious about our F1 leagues as well, so we do run equal cars. While the cars may have a little bit of a difference when it comes to maybe straight up handling, some cars may be a little oversteery than others, the power is all equal. So it's on the drivers to develop their own setups, run what's comfortable, and whoa! Huge run by Marquez. Almost gets to the back of McSendit. McSendit wants that outside line. We've seen this outside line work many times, as it looked like Marquez maybe didn't give him a whole ton of room there, so McSendit getting up on the curbing, had to back off. Give Marquez the spot. We've seen that outside line work between these two drivers multiple times. All right, McSendit, I'm going to attempt to go through a couple spots real quick, because we know he's going to make a move on the front stretch. So Dahi has not been able to fully capitalize on these two going back and forth. He is still 11.5 seconds behind, though he has a huge gap back on Aerostrike, 8 seconds. We got a pair of Renaults, though. Aero and Dano, they are both on soft tires. They're good to go the rest of the way. I'm assuming that for the team championship, they're probably not going to be too racy with each other just yet, because just a few seconds behind is Oxful and Axton. So they won't want to let those guys catch up. They'll probably run nose to tail and then decide it between themselves in the closing laps. We're going back up front now. McSendit was not able to make a move on the front stretch. Going to try to set himself up in the second DRS zone. That car up ahead, that is the Ferrari of Aletti. Aletti, unfortunately, has had to make multiple pit stops. He qualified 10th. He's down in 15th right now. Marquez is shocking. So Marquez immediately went to the defensive line instead of trying to stay up and see if he could steal a little bit of slipstream from the Ferrari and maybe keep McSendit back there. But as you see, it's not needed. McSendit closed the gap, but a overtake opportunity was not there. Marquez is taking a wider line. It's going to give him a good run off that double apex right-hander. Aletti now respectfully serving his blue flags, go ahead and takes his Ferrari off track, giving the leaders as much room as possible. Hats off to Aletti. And unfortunately, Aletti's sportsmanship gave himself a 3-second penalty doing it, so Letty knows his race is not what he wanted anyway, so that 3 seconds probably is not much. One thing that I love about the PRL is the sportsmanship. These guys are very respectful. I mean, they'll race hard, they'll battle. We've seen it tonight. They'll bang wheels, but when it comes to blue flags, they definitely do not want to negatively affect a race when they're not involved. So, again, hats off to Letty. We see that week in, week out with every driver. McSendit, though, not able to make a move down the front stretch. We'll see in the second DRS zone. Can the Sauber get a good run and try to take the fight to... Wow. Marquez did have a solid beginning to that turn, but not a good end. And McSendit just gave himself 3 seconds going wide there. I believe McSendit and Marquez is now straight up. Marquez has had a 3-second penalty earlier in this race. So, unless he got a second one that I missed, I believe this is now a battle on the track for the position. No delta is going to come into play. I'm still keeping an eye on the leaderboard. Dano is staying pretty consistently about a half second behind Aerostrike. Like I was suggesting, the Renault's probably not worried about battling each other yet. Not doing team orders of who has what position, but maybe just doing a gentleman's agreement. Hey, keep it nose to tail. Let's run away from Awful and Axton. Build that gap, and then with 2 to go, we'll duke it out. Smart play. It's a smart play. It really is. Especially from that Manufacturers' Championship. You do not want to risk a double DNF. Here we go. DRS is open for McSendit. He's going to make a look to the outside. We're going to jump on top of the Mercedes as he tries to defend the inside line, and he's going to have it. Nice defense by Marquez. But you see the run McSendit's had. Marquez is going to make him go to the outside. McSendit with a little bit of an early break, maybe seeing if there was an over-under there, not quite. Marquez's big-time wheel spin. McSendit being conservative, though. If McSendit would have stayed on the power, that could have been huge, but as it is already, he's really close to Marquez's. DRS is open as we head into the chicane. Marquez is protecting the inside. McSendit trying to go for a late break on the outside. It's going to work. Now he has track position. Here we go. Marquez is going to try to fight back on the outside, though. You see McSendit, he's going to hold the right side up into the coming right-hander. Trying to get that preferred line. Marquez runs wide. He's got to be careful not to give himself another penalty. Runs wide again. Does McSendit have him cleared? Yes, he does. So Marquez is trying to build as much speed as possible, going very wide, allowed McSendit to clear him. Now McSendit was able to defend on the outside through the S. Marquez is still not letting him breathe, though. That was really weird. Like, I'm assuming that had to have been some kind of latency deal that we just had between Marquez and McSendit. So Marquez is, though, able to hold the top spot for now. It's putting McSendit back on the attack. Right now, Letty with a beautiful view. Even though the race is not going the way he wants, he is getting an eyeful right now of this battle for the lead. Just like he did last time, McSendit trying to set up Marquez for this DRS. He's 0.4 of a second back. DRS is opened. Already down to 1/4 of a second, 0.2, a tenth. Marquez wants that outside to inside line. I believe that was a little bit of tire-on-tire contact there as Marquez is trying to defend. McSendit with a strong run. Gets a little bit of slipstream. No DRS here, though. Move is not to be had yet. And the Renaults actually go at it a little bit early. Dano has gotten around Aerostrike. That's a pass for 4th place. I'm wondering if Aero is worried a little bit about his pace, because you see there is Oxful and Axton who have caught the pair. Maybe Aerostrike decided to let his teammate go, let Dano try to run away and see if he can hold down 4th place, and let Aerostrike do the defensive driving to hold 5th. Back up front, DRS is open for McSendit on the front stretch going into turn 1. That Williams up ahead, that's Soldier 6, that's 14th place. Aleti, by following our leaders, is actually maybe going to gain a spot. Once Soldier 6 goes to serve his blue flag, Aleti is going to be there tucked in behind our leaders, so this might work out for the Ferrari to gain a cheeky spot here. And there he goes. So Soldier 6 respectfully moving off track for the leaders, and that's exactly what happened. So he moved off track to not... Oh no! It's a double DNF for Haas. As Chappa... Where is Chappa? We're riding on top of Zeke. So Chappa, somewhere in the nethers there. Not sure which way he went, but that's unfortunate for the Haas. That's a double DNF here. We're on top of Aleti. We're seeing maybe... Could it have been from the fast right-hander? Hasn't passed him yet. And speaking of passing, you see, we're looking at the lead up ahead as we're also trying to scout for Chappa. So Chappa's car is already off track. We have no idea where he went. So tough break for Haas. Again, a double DNF. Not what they wanted. Here we go on the front stretch. You can hear that motor rev, a lot of wheel spin coming off McSendit when he's trying to put down the power. He has DRS, he's closing up on Marquez, a little too far back though to make a move into turn 1. Right on the tail of him. Marquez with a great run off turns 2 and 3 there though. Now we can't see the exact fuel figure. Oh! Marquez with some slip. McSendit was not able to capitalize. He was a little bit too far back. We know these guys are working the ERS hard. Also working the fuel as well. Alright, 0.4 of a second. That seems to be the prime passing range. Anything beyond that, maybe a half second or more, you're not going to sit up at the opportunity, but you see McSendit gaining a lot of ground, going for the late break, but... Oh, there's wheel-on-wheel contact. Marquez went for the late break as well to defend, and in between the turns, a little bump there. No harm, no foul by the drivers. They're going to continue to battle. As we hop on Marquez, his fuel light is not on. McSendit's is yellow. So McSendit has to be careful. Trying to use up fuel as he goes to a move on the inside. The double apex, he just had to hug the curbing too much. It allowed Marquez to keep the run on the outside going. Marquez is trying to hold his line. Oh, he went a little bit wide. McSendit, can he go for an over-under? Marquez has to brake hard, knowing that McSendit was on the outside. Here we go. Marquez, a little bit of slip off the corner there. McSendit with DRS. He's closing in. He looks to the inside. They're wheel-to-wheel as they enter the braking zone for turn 1. Marquez goes really wide. Did he clip him? I believe he clipped him. McSendit, though. Did McSendit feel he pushed him wide? I don't see any wheel damage, though. It looked like wing damage. It looked like there was contact, but the wing is still intact on the Mercedes. Wondering if McSendit just trying to be sportsmanship. We saw it last week when Marquez had the connection issue. Yep, and McSendit is pulling off to the side. So McSendit felt like he pushed Marquez wide off track, gives the spot back. Fair game. I love the sportsmanship that we have here. We saw that last week, too, when there was a connection issue when Marquez literally fell through the world at Canada, right through the track. Cost him 6 seconds. McSendit, and they were battling for the lead there as well. McSendit slowed up, gave all 6 seconds back so those guys could duke it out. He did not want to win based on a game glitch. Same there, McSendit did not want to win on what he felt was an unfair advantage, so he gave the spot back to Marquez and goes right back on the attack as we have about a lap and a half to go. And watching this as well, playtime's over between the Renaults. Aerostrike has passed Dano back, and they have got Oxful all over him. As a matter of fact, let's take a peek as they're... There we go. Oxful now trying to secure his first career top 5. Makes the move on Dano, makes it stick. Dano going for the over-under. As we go back up front, we are white flag conditions. We're going to have to keep the battle on the lead here. Or the camera on the battle for the lead here. Good Lord, I have talked way too much in this broadcast. So McSendit had nothing on the front stretch. He is got to set himself up here for the second DRS zone. You see, he early braked. He's trying to carry the speed off. He's 0.3 of a second. Oh, here we go. So McSenda is definitely close enough. DRS is open. Look at him already sucking up to the back of the Mercedes. Marquez wants that inside line that's going to turn into the outside line. Except McSenda already has him cleared. Marquez is trying to go for an over-under. It is not there. And he gave himself a 3-second time penalty doing it. That is the second time Marquez gave himself a time penalty going for an over-under. So McSenda now has the lead. He has 3 seconds in hand. Marquez is back on the attack. Though these two drivers have a lot of pride. They don't care about time penalties when it comes to this. They want to cross the line in front of the other. So even though Marquez knows he may not get awarded the win, he wants to cross that line first, but McSenda now starting to run away with it. I think that was one last ditch effort for Marquez. May have burned up his tires in that chicane. And here we go. Coming off the final turn, and it was Marquez completely ruined his tires. That's going to be win number 5 in a row for McSenda. Marquez is going to finish second for the second week in a row. Dahi's got third wrapped up, so we're jumping back to the battle of fourth. We got Arrow, we got Dano, who's gotten back around Oxville, but they are side by side. The McLaren looking on the inside of the final turn. This is going to work out great for Arrow. Dano with a strong outside run. Axton's there. There's no mood to be had. And here we go. It's going to be Arrow, Dano, Oxville, and then Axton. 4 drivers nose to tail to finish this Grand Prix. Amazingly close finish there between them. Aaron Webb crosses the line in 8th. Gordau, using the 2-stop strategy right now, finds himself in 9th place. Whoa, almost. Oh, it got scary there. And here we go. The battle for the final point. J-Rod has just gotten around Byron Mosser, but J-Rod, though, has a ton of penalties. So, Brian, I'm not going to say it's over yet because I don't know how many penalties Brian has himself, but we're going to stick with the Toro Rosso as he's under attack for Zeke. And Brian goes wide. His tires are shot. This is going to be a heartbreak for the birthday boy. Mosser turning 21 at midnight tonight. And there we go. J-Rod crossed the line 10th, fell down to 12th. Zeke crosses the line. He will get the final point. Brian finishes 1 position out of the points. Brian had a puncture. Look at that left front tire. That's what happened to Mr. Mosser. Running his heart out, trying to get that final point, and the tires were just not as strong as his heart, unfortunately. But again, happy birthday to Brian. He went +1 on the race. Gave it his all. That's what we love to see, too. Leaving it out on the track. And speaking of leaving it on the track, what a battle for the lead we had all race long. 5th race in a row. That Sauber driver is on the top step. McSenda, your 2-time defending champion, has been on an absolute tear. He has tasted champagne every race for a month. Dahi, yet another podium. Dahi, who's sitting 2nd place in the points. This is not going to help him. This is going to drop him 2 full races out. But that is Dahi's 6th podium in 8 races. He's having a great season. The problem is McSenda is 8 for 8, including 5 wins. And even with the battle, we got to give a shout out to Arrow, Dano, and Oxville. The 3 drivers without penalties. So absolutely great drives by those guys. We talked about Axton. Unfortunately, he made a strong run going +4. It just wasn't, the podium wasn't there for him tonight like he did in preseason, but still great run for the win. Oxville is our hard charger of the race, though, going +9 for what I believe ties his best career finish. Just hats off to the McLaren driver. He had 4th place right there in the sights as well. So just absolutely great drive. And that is it, the official end to the French Grand Prix. Absolutely wild one. Absolutely wild. And Gordau, you were the only driver who did a actual tire 2-stop. The other 2 stops were for damage. So, don't trust default game strategies, bro. But you did have a solid run, my man. That was a great qualifying effort as well. And then, there he is in chat, dude. Oxville, man. I was proud to see that drive out of you, brother. That was fantastic. You and Axton had some great battles. You took it to the Renaults at the end. That was fantastic, my man. Beautiful, beautiful drive. Now I'm also catching it, Zach. So that was Dano and Aerostrike as well. They were trying to do the teammate thing, hold positions till late in the race, and then they just couldn't hold it anymore. They had to start battling. So an amazing 4-car battle there for 4th place at the end. Absolutely nuts. And Brian, he in chat as well, feeling the heartbreak from that puncture. A couple turns away from getting a point, and like I said, unfortunately, that left front tire did not have the same kind of heart as Mr. Mosser. And speaking of the final point, there is Zeke. Zeke, my man. Nice qualifying run. I'm happy for you, too, getting that point, but, dude, that's a little bit of a shocker seeing that second Mercedes up there in 6th place, brother. Great hot lap. As I'm waiting for our podium guys to get in Discord so we can start these interviews now. Got in our Discord chat as well, drivers just talking it out. Lots of congratulating going on right now. Lots of great battles. And unfortunately could not catch a lot of them on the broadcast because we had... It would... If anybody wants to count it, I'm not saying somebody, wastes 45 minutes of their life, but if anybody wants to count it and see exactly how many lead changes we had in this race tonight, that's got to be a record. I've never seen that many lead changes. It had to have been close to 30. It really did, because there were several times that McSendit and Marquez swapped the lead multiple times in the same lap. Yeah, Zeke, unfortunately, Brian, his left front punctured. It completely blew out in the final few turns there. All right, we finally got somebody in Discord. And
what is going on?
It's the man of the hour. You hear that voice every single week in the podium interviews. We're going to start it off with 5 wins in a row and defended his preseason win here at France. McSendit, buddy. Dude. Talk about that.
What a race that was. Oh, my God. I don't think I've ever had a race quite like that, where it's just like every single lap nose to tail. I think it was just like the 2 laps of pit cycles where we weren't like nose to tail. So that was just so exhausting, like trying to like anticipate where his car is going to be. And I think for the most part, our wheel to wheel was very good. Like probably some of the best battles I've ever had. Actually, you
guys were rough but not reckless. Like, we saw some tire bangs. It was really super close, but nothing really, nothing I would call dirty. Just great hard racing between you two, and it caught me off guard. Actually, I probably missed the first 5 or 6 lead changes you guys had, because I'm used to you two playing nice, running away from everybody, and then duking it out at the end. So here I am mid-pack watching some amazing battles, and I'm like, the hell is going on up front? And then you guys completely dominated the rest of the broadcast after that.
Oops.
No, it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad you could see parts of that, because, there was definitely... I'm going to be uploading probably all of that.
I was guessing you guys had to change the lead where you fully cleared one another at least 20 times in that race.
God, seriously. There's just no pulling away from the other car at this track, because, like...
The DRS zones are perfectly placed, I feel.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, it's so beneficial to spend a lap or 2 or even more just like saving up ERS, like using the DRS so that you can use less battery. And so, not gonna lie, like once I was kind of getting the vibe that Odom's had a lot, or not a lot, but he had more pace than I did, even though we were really close, because I would make a move and he would always get me back like the same lap. So usually when that happens, it means that they're quicker than you. So I kind of got desperate and thought my only option at this point is to save up ERS for like a really long time, and then just on the last like 3 laps just go all out. And that's what I did. I think there was one corner where I pushed him off and I had to wait up for him. And I hope that didn't impact his race. Like, I hope that didn't give him damage or anything.
No, we did check the wing,
but...
so it was all good there. And I did call out, so the turn 1 camera sucked. I couldn't tell what really happened. But again, just we saw it last week with Canada when the world ate him. You slowed down for him, and same thing. Like, you made a move. It wasn't, you didn't stick the way you wanted to. You gave the spot back. So just hats off for the sportsmanship, man.
Thanks. No, I would have felt. I think any driver would have felt bad about driving away from that, because it was just one of those situations where right away that you were in the wrong, and I was kind of cursing myself for it, because it was like some of the times we were going into turn 1, I was passing him on the inside. Some of the times he would just yield the position, and I would be able to completely close the line out of turn 1, and then he would go for like a cutback kind of through turns 2, and that would work for him a lot of the time. So that time where I pushed him off, I kind of thought he was yielding the position to me. And maybe it was something where I couldn't see my red arrows really, because they were by the fuel settings and whatnot. So either way, I thought he wasn't there, and I closed the line like he definitely was. So my fault for that. But yeah, good thing he didn't get damaged though. I think the tire wear difference maybe was what happened at the end there.
Yeah, I think that final lap, because he did pit, it was 2, maybe even 3 laps earlier. I think it was 2. I think it was it. He made that one last gasp in the chicane after the second DRS, and I think that was all this tires had. So, but I mean, again, hats off to both of you. And Marquez is too, unfortunately, a little bit tired, a little bit worn out, not much of a voice, so he's not going to join the podium interviews, but hats off to him as well, as probably one of the greatest race-long battles that I've ever had the pleasure of viewing. That was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta say, Odom's dude, I know you're not in here, but thank you for that battle, man, because I feel like I learned so much in those 27 laps just about going wheel to wheel. It's crazy. And yeah, I felt bad that I couldn't, keep it totally clean the whole race, but we did our best, I think that was a pretty good job. I
mean, we're talking inches between you guys, so if a mistake happened, it's not a complete shocker,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and open up this interview now. So the man who, again, another podium, that's 6 out of 8 races, but unfortunately, again, who just kind of found himself in Nick Dahi land. We'll just call it that. Just nice and comfy in 3rd place all by himself. Who needs to unmute himself in Discord. There we go.
I'm here, Dad.
So Nick, my man, talk about it. Like I said, you had a couple early battles, and then you found yourself in the Dahi zone.
Yeah, the start was pretty similar. Like, you had to start basically on a super soft. I didn't have the option to start on the medium, but it looked like Gordo got past me, and then there's someone else in front of me too. Is that Dano? Do you remember who?
I believe it was Dano, yes.
But yeah, so they had pretty good pace for like the first couple laps, but then their tires fell off, so I was able to sneak by. And then I don't know, I felt okay on the supers. I was keeping the gap, and then it seemed like Odoms was kind of falling off there the last couple laps, and he was only like about maybe 3 seconds ahead of me. But I just decided to stay out, and then I was gonna kind of hope and see maybe if his tires would fall off, but man, those guys were just, I don't know. I was slower to get on the hard compound, man. I need to figure that out.
Yeah, because I was actually expecting you to, the way they were passing back and forth, I thought you'd make some time. I didn't know if you could have, covered the full 11 seconds, but yeah, I thought you were going to get up there at least a little bit if somebody went like crazy wide, like you maybe come into play, but yeah, man,
so
we've got to get that. We got to get the Ferrari researchers on those harder tires for you.
I'm trying to get the extended reconnaissance. Put in some laps with them. So, I mean, that definitely helped because I was feeling pretty lost at this track. So, I mean, one good thing is like the pace wasn't quite there, but the car was like felt good. I was just slow. So maybe it just comes down to, this talent.
Well, my man,
I think you got plenty of that.
I was about to say, you're a 2-time PC champ. You got the talent. I was about to say, and this doesn't give you credit as a driver, but you're the one I watched on YouTube to try to learn how to drive these stupid cars. Now, granted, I didn't do you any justice, but still, you've got the talent. I need roundy rounds and fenders, goddammit.
Appreciate it, Hoot.
All right, now before we end this interview, so since I got you both, and everybody out there in Twitch land, there's no race next week. We're taking Thanksgiving off. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. And one of my personal favorites, the Red Bull Ring. Who's calling their shot?
I think Odom's is going to be especially hungry after this race.
He needs to be hungry. He only weighs 130 pounds.
You know what I mean. Hungry for a win.
In 2017, we had like a good 4 or 5 car battle last season. Do you guys remember?
Yeah, the 2017 Red Bull was... Red Bull and Monza were the two insane tracks for that game.
That was nuts.
So I can only imagine what it's going to be like in these cars. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And not only that, you guys got the extra week to practice. So I expect a lot of A games to be coming to the Red Bull Ring.
All rusty for eating too much turkey.
Yeah, I'll be recovering from my food coma by then. But that will do it, Twitchland. We'll go ahead and make that the official end for this race broadcast. Again, let's give it up. Really, the two men of the hour finishing first and second. McSendit taking home win number 5 in a row. Marquez's second week in a row coming up in the runner-up spot. And then Dahi, again, with his 6th podium in 8 races, finishing third. Gentlemen, congratulations.